Hey everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope that you guys are doing great. Okay. So today I want to talk about the menstrual cycle and how to live in sync with your menstrual cycle. Okay. So if you were at my workshop, my 3-day Reset Your Hormone workshop a couple weeks ago, we touched on this. The cycle, the 28-day cycle, and what those 4 phases of the cycle looks like. Okay. So I want to touch on it a little bit today because this can be very helpful for women that are, having hormonal issues, because syncing your life with your cycle for women is really important. Okay. So I really thought that this would be really helpful for those that are suffering from hormonal imbalances, for those that may be trying to get pregnant, for those dealing with any type of reproductive health issues, PCOS, even fibroids. This is going to be extremely helpful. Okay. So yeah. So when it comes to, and when I say the menstrual cycle, I'm talking about the full 28-day cycle. Okay. The full 28-day cycle. That's what we're talking about today. And kind of like a lot of women don't realize that there's 4 phases of that. Right. And a lot of times we think that as women, we don't realize that we are hormonal beings, right? We're not going to show up in the same way in the world as men do, okay? Men can, their hormones don't fluctuate as maybe a little, but not as much as ours do. So they can kind of put out the same amount of productivity for the most part every single day, and that's fine for them. But when it comes to women, there's going to be some days, some days we're feeling amazing. Some days like we have so much energy. And there's going to be other days where we're like, we may not feel like we had that much energy. We might be, we may be a little bit more withdrawn, more inward, and that's okay. We might not put out as much productivity, one day as we do another phase of our cycle. So I'm going to show you kind of like what that looks like in a full 28-day cycle, right? And this is something, like I said, all women have this. You may be watching this, and if your cycle is not like I said, regular, or your cycle is kind of irregular, you could still go by this, right? And this is actually going to help you as you're, healing your hormones, as you are, trying to restore balance to your body. This is going to be part of what kind of helps you restore that balance, syncing your cycle to your lifestyle. It's really important, okay? Because the world we live in, like I said, is not really, for women, it's like we're expected to like still, work and, do like 100 other things and still, like I said, put out the same amount of output every single day, right? But they don't realize, a lot of people don't realize as women, our hormones do fluctuate, ladies. Our hormones do fluctuate. So when I talk about cycle syncing, I'm going to talk about some of your lifestyle, syncing some of your lifestyle habits, even your diet to certain phases, and even like your exercises to certain phases of your cycle, okay? So, and by doing this, you're going to feel much more in tune with your body, with your hormonal health. You're just going to feel a lot more in tune, right? Because a lot of women are 100% out of tune with their bodies, right? They're literally working against their bodies, not with their bodies. They're not working with the ebb and flows of their hormones of their bodies, right? I know that really well because I used to do that as well. And you may even feel guilty that you're not, you don't have the same, like I said, output, or you're not putting out the same productivity as a man does. And you don't, let me tell you something. We are not men, right? We are very different from men. Our biology, we're designed very different from men, right? So our superpower is not in productivity all the time, right? Certain times of your cycle, certain phases of your cycle, you're going to be able to do that, right? Put that out. But there's certain phases of your cycle, you might need to retreat just a little bit, okay? So this helps you also prevent burnout, because a lot of women are suffering from burnout as well. And like I said, it keeps you more in tune with your body, okay? Because when it comes to your menstrual cycle, that full 28-day cycle, for you, maybe a little bit less, 25, 26 days. For some women, it's a little bit more than that. When it comes to that, knowledge is power. The more we know, the better. And you're going to see like your cycle is, a lot of women dread their cycle. They don't realize that it's really a gift, right? I always say this because your menstrual cycle is your body's 5th vital sign. It's literally a reflection of your health. It's telling you, what's going on in your body. Like, how much toxicity is in your body. It's like a warning sign, like, hello, like, when your cycle's kind of like, all over the place, when it's like irregular, when you're dealing with cramps, when it's heavy, that, hey, this is a red flag. Your body is literally telling you, look, we got to do something here because we got to clean out your gut. we got to clean out these organs because, like I said, there's a lot of toxicity in the body. So you want to look at your menstrual cycle as a gift and not as a curse, okay? I used to look at it as a curse as well because when I used to have horrible menstrual cycles, so I understand, but we got to change the narrative, ladies. We got to change the narrative. So let's talk about the first phase of your menstrual cycle, right? We're going to talk about the menstruation, right? The bleeding phase. Okay, so this is when you are on your period. This is the phase where you're on your period. And for some women, maybe 5 days, 4 days, whatever, right? It's the period where you're bleeding. This is the first phase of the menstrual cycle. Okay, so this, like I said, it shouldn't last if your hormones are balanced, you're going to see it shouldn't not last more than 4 days, 5 at the very, very most, but 4 to 5 days, right? So what is happening in your body physically? We know that if the fertilized egg does not implant in the uterine wall, right, during the last phase of the cycle, then the lining, we're going to shed that lining of the uterine, we're going to shed the uterine lining, and that's when you're going to have your period. So energetically and emotionally, you may feel a little bit like you're not going to have as much energy, right? When you're on your cycle, when you are bleeding, you're going to feel a little bit maybe more raw emotionally. You're going to be a little bit more intuitive. A lot of women are very intuitive when they're on their menstrual cycle. Okay, you're going to feel a little bit depleted as well. This is not the time to, probably for most women be, so social, go out and do out and about and, do all this stuff, right? So it's okay to kind of retreat back. It's okay to kind of tune inward. It's okay to maybe, like I said, do some retrospection, you know what I mean? And just think about, how maybe the last few weeks have been. It's okay to do that, okay? I'm not telling you that you stay in bed and not do any work. I'm not saying that, but this is the time maybe you could do some more background work, right? So more back end work. And if you know that, look, if I have a big project coming up or if I have a lot to do, maybe get that done on other phases of your cycle, not the menstrual cycle, right? Because this is a time where we don't want to be too hard on ourselves. Okay, so during this time, like when it comes to exercising, you want to, like I said, do more gentle movements, do more flowing movements. Stretching is really good. You don't want to overexert yourself during this time. This is not a time to do heavy, intense workouts at the gym when you're bleeding, especially for women that have heavy bleeding. You definitely don't want to do that while you're bleeding. You know what I mean? Do these even a little bit before your period comes. You don't want to do these heavy, intense workouts at the gym. It's just, I just do not recommend it at all, right? So it's not the time to, engage in like things like CrossFit, these high energetic workouts. This is not the time. These strenuous workouts, this is not the time, right? You kind of want to do, like I said, more light workouts. You can do yoga, you can do a lot of stretching, during the time when the first phase when you're bleeding. Now, as far as food, you want to choose more warming foods, I would say. A lot of soups, you know what I mean? It's really good to choose warming foods during this period of time. Herbal teas are really good, vegetable soups, things such as that. And a lot, of course, iron-rich foods. That's really important. It's important during the whole 28-day cycle, right? But it's definitely important while you're bleeding, while you're losing blood, while you're losing minerals. You want to replenish your body. So this is not a time to eat a whole bunch of junk food, right? This is not a time where we're just going to eat a whole bunch of sweets. This is a time we want to replenish our body with the nutrients that we are losing, okay? So really, really important for you to, be easy on yourself during that, like I said, that first phase of the cycle when you're bleeding, okay? Don't go too hard on yourself. Like I said, it's a good time to journal. It's a good time maybe to go out in nature. As the weather is nice, those type of things. You don't want to do anything that's gonna, exert so much energy, right? And even I had to learn this, even though I feel like I can do my cycle, I said, no, you have to kind of take a step back. You can't do like really, active workouts, really high intensity workouts while you are on your cycle, because you have to honor your cycle, right? So let's talk about the second phase, the follicular phase of your cycle, right? The second part, this is after the period. This is when you're going to feel much more energy. This is when you're going to feel, you're going to be much more full of action. You're going to be much more in a better mood, full with excitement, Now this is going to be like when you're going to have that energy, So what's happening physically in your body is that pituitary gland is being released into the follicle stimulating hormone, which we know that, stimulates the follicles and the ovaries of one of your ovaries to actually mature, okay? So you're going to feel a lot more lighter. You're going to feel less weighed down as well during this time, okay? Now, during this time, your hormone levels are starting to rise because we're approaching ovulation. So the estrogen in your body is rising. The testosterone is also rising. Your mood, your mood and your brain function is like, is more boosted. You just feel a lot better when you're on your cycle. Now, now we're preparing for ovulation. The body's starting to prepare for ovulation. So you don't want to, like I said, eat certain things that's going to throw off your ovulation, right? Especially for all women, but especially if you're trying to get pregnant, right? So this is not the time where we want to, do a lot of sugar, added. And when I say sugar, I mean added sugars, right? We want to be mindful of our refined sugar during this time because our body's prepping for ovulation and our hormone levels are higher. So this is a time where you're going to feel a little bit more impulsive. It's a great time to dive into like new projects, new activities. You definitely do those high intensity workouts. It's a great time to do it because you just have more energy, right? You just feel more energetic. Go for it. This is the time to do, like I said, if you want to do CrossFit, if you want to do running, whatever, jogging, whatever you want to do, this is a great time to do it. This is a great time to also, really eat well-balanced meals, okay? I would not drink coffee around this time because I guess you could create, like I said, I would not eat a lot of things with sugar, right? And I definitely would not do coffee the whole 28 days anyway, but definitely not around this time. We don't want anything that's going to spike, cause crashes in our energy, right? So you kind of want to go with the flow. We really want to, like I said, take advantage of that extra energy you have during this period, right after your cycle. Take advantage of that, okay? And your hormone levels are higher, so work that out. Get a good sweat, and make sure you're eating foods that are detoxifying to, like I said, detoxify some of those hormones out. Because remember, if we're we already dealing with excess estrogen, we don't want to, like I said, we don't want to flood our body with so much. We don't want our estrogen levels to continue to rise due to the foods that we're eating, right? So just be mindful of what you're eating, right? So now I want to talk about the third phase of your menstrual cycle, okay? This is the ovulation. This really is the main event of your menstrual cycle. A lot of women will look at, the bleeding period as the main event, but no, it is your ovulation. And if you do not ovulate, that is not a real menstrual cycle, okay? So this is the main event of the menstrual cycle. This is a very important part of your menstrual cycle, okay? Very, very important part. And like I said, your hormone levels are higher. We know that they're higher. You feel, like I said, a lot of women feel more attractive even when they're ovulating. They have much more energy. And this will happen like in your mid cycle. So we're looking at the 28-day cycle. This is going to happen, your ovulation, around like day 12, 13, 14-ish, around that time. It doesn't last too long. It's only a couple of days, but this is the time, like I said, this is the third phase. So that luteinizing hormone surges, causing the dominant follicle to burst and release the egg into the fallopian tube during this time. So that egg survives for about 12 to 24 hours, not that long. So study shows that, you have more energy, you're much more attractive, you're more magnetic during the time of your ovulation, okay? And I also will say this, if you are spotting during ovulation or you're feeling pain, that is a red flag, okay? Spotting during ovulation could be a sign of blocked tubes. So, that is definitely a red flag, right? But those things, like I said, can always be healed naturally, okay? So you should not feel pain when you're ovulating. You should not feel, you should not be PMSing and all that stuff. And a lot of women they start the PMS or they start having symptoms a couple weeks before their cycle. This is actually a couple weeks before the cycle, your actual menstrual cycle. So during this time, like I said, you feel more confident, you feel more sexy, you feel more self-assured. People always say this is a good time to ask for a raise, okay? Your testosterone is at its highest. So you just feel more like a little bit more positive. You're more social. This is a great time to put yourself out there. It's a great time to go on a date for the women that are single, okay? A great time to engage and meet new people, right? You're going to feel more up to it while you're ovulating. So take advantage of it, okay? This is also a great time, again, to, like I said, do those higher intensity workouts. It's a great time, because you have more energy. It's a time to get a lot of stuff done, okay, at your job or at your business or whatever, wherever you work, or even in the home. Get a lot of things done, a lot of activities done in the home, a lot of projects done in the home. Great time because you have the energy to do that. So definitely take advantage of that. as far as how you want to eat during this time, you want to eat light. And I'm going to say this, you want to eat a little bit light. You don't want to eat heavy meals during ovulation, because guess what? You want to eat meals that are easily digestible, because you're dealing with higher hormone levels. Your hormones are at an all-time high during this time, okay? And we are trying to detoxify those hormones. We're not trying to hold on to those hormones and have them wreak havoc in our bodies, right? We want to, as our hormone levels are rising, we want to detoxify that, right? So everything should be easily digestible. It should not be no heavy foods while you're ovulating, okay? So fruits, vegetables, leafy greens. For people that's eating meat, stay away from meat during this time. Stay away from meat while you're ovulating. Ovulation is only like 3 or 4 days anyway, so, or even less than that. So stay away, eat detoxifying foods. Great time for a cleanse. Like I said, you need foods that are gonna help you detoxify those excess hormones while you are ovulating, okay? So you don't need anything that's gonna be heavy. And things, definitely don't eat a steak around this time, for sure. Okay, no red meat, no meat at all. You're gonna see some cervical mucus during this time, okay, of course. And your chances for conceiving are high. Okay, you guys should already know that during ovulation, okay? So, hey, if you're trying to have a baby, perfect time. Okay, if you're not trying to have a baby, you should know what to do, okay? Now, let's go on to the last phase, the 4th phase of your cycle. This is the luteal phase, right? This is going to be after ovulation, but a couple weeks before your next cycle. Okay, so this is going to be this phase is going to be a little bit longer, right? So this actually begins once ovulation ends. Okay, and it goes all the way up until the day before your period. So what is happening physically with you during this time, during these like couple of weeks? Your progesterone dominates during this time. It's at an all-time high. Okay. And of course, we know that that's going to cause that uterine wall to thicken, preparing for potential fertilized egg to, implants, right? If it doesn't occur, then we know that it's going to prepare for the shedding. All right. So this is going to be around day 14, day 14 through 28 of your cycle. So it's going to last a couple of weeks, the luteal phase, the last phase of your cycle. Okay. So again, if you're experiencing PMS symptoms during this time, that's a red flag. And that's the underlying, we know that's the underlying hormonal imbalance. If you're experiencing PMDD, which is PMS much more extreme, okay? If you guys want me to do a video on the difference between PMS and PMDD, let me know in the comments section if you guys want me to do a video on that. But yeah, so this is the time where, like I said, your progesterone is going to be a little bit higher. So, during this time, you might, especially as it gets closer to your cycle, your actual, where you're bleeding, you're going to feel a little bit, less outgoing, a little bit less social, and that's okay. You may prefer to do things more solo during this time. Also, you may also prefer more background tasks, more detail-oriented tasks. Like, for example, if you're in a business, you may prefer to do more back-end work during this time, especially as it gets closer and closer to your cycle, okay? You also may want to sleep a little bit more, may want to take a nap, okay? Relax a little bit, and that's okay, especially as like I said, as it approach the ending of that 28-day menstrual cycle. And always listen to your body, don't go against, like I said, your body's ebbs and flows, right? Also, moving your body, of course, all time, like I said, all time throughout the whole cycles are good. Throughout all 4 of the cycles, you want to move your body somehow, some way. This is a great time for restorative exercises like yoga, Pilates. Great time for that, or just doing more lighter workouts, right? Especially as you get closer to your cycle, as you get, like I would say, 3 to 4 days to your cycle, don't do anything that's too high intensity. I wouldn't do anything that's really high intensity. Now, during this time, right before your cycle, we know for most women, their appetite increases, right? So, but we don't want to, like I said, we don't want to fill our bodies up with junk, right? Because we're prepping for menstrual cycle. We want to, I say, really eat, like I said, lots of leafy greens, lots of root vegetables, okay? During this time, like sweet potatoes, onions, beets, squash. Eat a lot of things that have magnesium as well, because remember, progesterone is at this height, and we want to, like I said, take advantage of that, right? So eat a lot of magnesium-rich foods. This is also the time where, believe it or not, it's easier to burn fat because our progesterone is at an all-time high. So you want to eat things like really that has a lot of magnesium in it, because a lot of people are lacking in magnesium. So things like avocados, bananas, of course, leafy greens are always good. Seeds, quinoa, lentils, blackberries, things such as that. Great time to, like I said, fill your diet up with that, right? These are good all 4 phases, but definitely during this luteal phase, okay? So this phase usually lasts about 12 to 16 days, so a couple of weeks, right? Now, here's the kicker. If you have a shorter luteal phase, such as a luteal phase that's shorter than 10 days, that means your body isn't producing enough progesterone for implantation or for you to have a successful pregnancy, okay? So ladies, even if you're not trying to get pregnant, then you need to take note of that, right? We got to rebalance. We got to restore that hormonal balance in the body. It's so important. Because I say this, even women that's like currently, they may not be trying to get pregnant, you still want your hormones to be in balance. Like, it's really, really important. And I think a lot of women, they don't really worry about that. Well, we're taught not to worry about that until we're trying to get pregnant. But we know that has not served us, right? And that's why the infertility rate is so high, because women are not worried about their hormonal balance until it's time to get pregnant. That we're supposed to always be worried about our hormonal balance. We're supposed to always have our hormones balanced, right? So, preventative care is so important. Making sure, like I said, if your body is off balance, restoring that balance is so important. So I cannot stress that enough, okay? You want your body's at its healthiest when it's fertile, okay? When you're not fertile, we know that's when we're going to start seeing signs. Then we're going to start having really bad cycles and all that stuff. And what people try to do is suppress that with birth control, which is even worse, okay? Which is even worse. And I always talk about how horrible birth control is for you. So, if you've been watching me for a while, so you should already know. If you're watching this, you're on birth control, just get off, because it is like doing much more harm than good. As somebody that works with women, it's literally ruined so many wounds. I don't want to say ruined so many wounds, because you can always get, like I said, you can always fix it. But it was wreaked havoc and so many women, not just their wombs, their bodies. You know what I mean? So many women are dealing with health issues due to the birth control they were on years ago. Okay, so just be careful. Just get off of it. I'm not gonna say be careful with it. Just get off of it. All right. Your body can restore itself without birth control. Birth control does not help restore your hormonal balance, okay? So during the luteal phase, you're prone to get bloating, okay? And that is a sign of excess estrogen. But what you want to do is avoid foods that are going to make you, create that bloating effect, right? So what we know, things like dairy, you want to be eating, not the best for this time. It's not the best anytime, really, but definitely you don't want to do dairy. You don't want to do added sugars. You want to do a lot of fruit. You want to do a lot of leafy greens. You want to do, like I said, those magnesium-rich foods. Okay, you can also do, if you're having sweet cravings, you do sweet fruits like mangoes, pineapples, but stay away from, like I said, the added sugars, okay? The foods with added sugars, okay? Don't want to do that, okay? All right, so it's really important, like I said, for women that are dealing with hormonal balance, it's really important, like I said, to listen to your body, listen to the ebb and flows of your cycle, of your natural hormonal balance, of your natural cycle. You don't want to go against that and you feel like you have to, like I said, you have to be productive and put the same amount of output every single day, because that's, like I said, that's going to work against your body. We are not men, okay? We're not men. There's going to be some days that we require more rest, and that's okay. There's going to be some days where we can do a little bit more, right? We want to be active and, start a new project or whatever. And that's okay, right? There's going to be some days you may need a nap, and that's okay. So listen to your body as much as you can. I know some people that live busy lives that, they can't just take a nap during the middle of the day, and I get it, but just listen to your body, right? Try not to do those really heavy tasks during the certain times of the cycle, especially that the first phase when you're bleeding, and the last phase when you're, as you're going into the bleeding phase, right? Try to save those tasks for the middle of your cycle, the ovulation time, and after your cycle, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. You want to kind of align. That's going to help, like I said, restore. It's going to help. We got to do a lot more, but that's going to help restore that balance back into your body. It's going to help, especially, when you're, when I said that when you're having higher hormone levels, not to eat those heavy foods, okay? So that's what a lot of people try to, tend to do. And really, like I said, listening to your body, okay? We got to be more in tune with our bodies is so important. So important, okay? So I say all that to say, okay, so I did a post yesterday, I think it was, about women having children over 35 and why is this still considered risky. I'm going to do a whole video on that tomorrow, okay? If I have some time, I'm going to do a video about that tomorrow, live on it tomorrow, about women having babies over 35 and why in 2023, why is it still considered risky, okay? You know, I thought that I've done videos to kind of like, you know, dispute that, but I'm going to do a whole video on that because I'm tired of people still repeating that in 2023. It's like, it's ridiculous at this point. At this point, it's almost a lie at this point for them to say that it's risky to have babies over 35. It makes no sense at all, right? So many women are having children way into their 40s. Talk to women talk to OBGYNs, talk to women that actually deliver babies, like doctors that deliver babies. Like, you talk to friends and family members, right, that are doctors or nurses. They will tell you, like, most of them, I mean, probably at least 50% of the babies they deliver are from women over 35. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, women, that people actually are running with this narrative. I think it's honestly a way to create like fearmonger in women, like fearmonger women. And I don't like it. I don't like this sense of, you know, we're going to make women so afraid and feel like their life is over if they had not gotten married and had a baby by, you know, that 35. That's ridiculous. But anyway, so I say all that to say, yes, exactly, Shayla. For the women who you know, want to restore their hormonal balance, for the women that are dealing with fibroids and you're tired of struggling with fibroids and you want to get on a journey that's going to help you shrink, get on a plan that's going to help you shrink these fibroids naturally without surgery, using holistic methods, or you're dealing with PCOS, or if you want to overcome infertility, okay? I have a Detoxify Your Womb program that is a 10-week coaching program, group coaching program that is absolutely amazing. That's going to help you achieve restored balance into your body. That's going to help you shrink your fibroids. It's going to help you detoxify your womb, detoxify your organs, so your body can come into balance, so your body can get rid of all these, like I said, cysts, fibroids, and everything, okay? I had a client yesterday who she went to the doctor yesterday. She found out her fibroid results, all her fibroids shrunk, okay? And she used to have 5 fibroids, now she has 4, okay? And all 4 of the fibroids shrunk and 1 is gone, okay? And her ovarian cysts are completely gone, okay? And I'm so happy. I was screaming when she sent me those text messages. She was like, they did not see any cysts. And she had several cysts. She had 5 fibroids. They only saw 4, and all 4 are a lot smaller than they were. So I'm really happy about that. So I'm excited. So if you are, like I said, if you are struggling with these, a lot of women are struggling with, you know, fibroids. A lot of women are struggling with infertility. I've helped so many women get pregnant. I think about 4 now. I've helped so many women shrink their fibroids and overcome and restore balance back into their body. You don't have to struggle with this alone. You don't have, like I said, go on from birth control to birth control to birth control, which are what these doctors are going to put you on. You don't have to do that alone. You actually there's help, right? So if you're interested in getting that help and, you know, being in this program that's going to, you know, that has other women that's going through the same thing, that has, you know, great success rates. My other programs have amazing success rates. Then go ahead and click the link in my caption and join the Detoxify Your Womb program, okay? We have payment plans available, all right? If you have a question about the program, go ahead and send me a message. My DMs are open, okay? I'm really excited about this program. We had our first group coaching call on Monday, and we have, like I said, you could take this program even off the Facebook app. That's why I'm so excited about it. You know, we have modules I have in Member Vault, and the ladies all have their access to Member Vault. And it's amazing, and they're enjoying it, and they're going at their own pace, and they're enjoying it, and they get the support of myself, of course, you know, the whole 10 weeks. So it's amazing. It's amazing. And then we detox. We're going to detox the 4th week and the 8th week of the program. So I'm really excited. We're going to do womb detoxes, right? So it's going to be amazing. We're getting rid of cysts, and we're getting rid of more fibroids in 2023. So are you joining us or not? We're getting more babies. We're getting more women pregnant. Are you joining us or not? Okay. If you want to join us, go ahead and click the link in my caption. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yes. Thank you, Shayla. Have a good one, ladies. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Okay. Go ahead and share it with a friend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.